parts, 8 days, 5 stadiums visited. But Britain offered more than football and cities. Day 9 took us north, away from the stadiums into nature's masterpiece. The Lake District waited, then Scotland, whisky, lochs, castles, and a different nation's pride. The road trip spirit was alive and pulling us towards new adventures. Welcome to Travel with Mads. If you're enjoying my travel vlogs, I humbly request you to press the subscription button and leave a comment. Let's move on. Day 9 began with a deliberate pause. No stadiums today, no cities, just nature at its finest. The Lake District spread across northwestern England mountains, carved by ice ages, lakes filling the valley between them, villages scattered in the gaps. This was where Wordsworth wrote poetry, where Beatrix Potter created Peter Rabbit, where England kept its wild heart. Lake Windermere stretched 11 miles long, England's largest natural lake. Mountains rose on both sides, their reflections perfect in the still morning water. This wasn't dramatic like the Alps or Himalayas. It was gentle, more intimate, somehow more English. The boat cruise moved slowly across Windermere's calm surface. Mountains sloped down to the water's edge. Small islands dotted the lake. Lakeside villages appeared, stone cottages with gardens running to the shore. Victorian hotels, private boats moved at pier. From the water, you can see the Lake District differently, quietly, the way it was meant to be seen. At Lakeside, a different kind of journey waited. The Lakeside and Haworthwaite Railway, one of Britain's heritage steam railways, running vintage trains through the Leven Valley since 1970s, though the original line dated from 1869. The steam engine sat at the platform like a museum piece that still worked. Black metal gleaming, steam hissing, the smell of coal smoke and hot oil. This was Victorian technology kept alive by volunteers who understood that some things were worth preserving not because they are efficient but because they are beautiful. The whistle blew, the train lurched forward, and we were moving. Not fast, maybe 20 miles per hour, but that was the point. The windows framed the passing landscape like a moving painting. Woods, fields, the River Leven running alongside. Stone walls dividing farms that had been worked for centuries. This was England at its most traditional, its most itself. Haworthwaite station appeared after 3.5 miles. Small, perfectly preserved volunteers in period uniforms maintaining the illusion that we have traveled through time as well as distance. The journey had lasted 20 minutes, but it felt both shorter and longer somehow. We walked the platform, examined the engines up close, bought tea from a small cafe run by volunteers. This was Britain's genius for preservation, not keeping things dead in museum, but keeping them alive and working, letting each generation experience what previous generations knew. The afternoon took us deeper into the Lake District, winding roads that climbed mountain passes and descended into new valleys. At Grasmere, where Wordsworth lived and wrote, the village seemed unchanged from his time. Stone buildings, narrow streets, the churchyard where he was buried, Grasmere gingerbread sold from a tiny shop that had made it the same way since 1854. Traditions wasn't forced here, it just continued because it worked. As afternoon turned into evening, the sky blazed orange. We sat at Derwent Water and watched the show, grateful we had taken this day away from football and cities to to remember what Britain offered beyond human achievements. That night, a traditional inn provided beds, dinner, and a particular quiet that comes from being surrounded by mountains instead of buildings. So, here we complete day 9 and was looking forward to day 10 in Scotland. Day 10 began with a border crossing. England became Scotland. Same island, different nations. The signs changed. Welcome to Scotland. The accent would change, the pride would be different. Scotland didn't apologize for being Scottish. Glasgow announced itself as Scotland's largest city, grittier than Edinburgh, more working class, proud of its industrial past and creative present. This was where things got built, where workers organized, where art erupted from unexpected places. The Riverside Museum looked like a crashed spaceship designed by Zaha Hadid. All angles and impossibility. Inside, Glasgow's transport history unfolded through hundreds of vehicles. The museum recreated Glasgow streets from different eras, 1900s cobblestones, 1930 shop fronts, 1960 signages, trams that had carried workers to factories, locomotives that had pulled freight across Scotland. This was working class history told through machines. Outside the tall ship, Glenley sat in the River Clyde, a 3-masted cargo ship from 1896, built right here in Glasgow, sailed around the world, now returned home. You could board her, walk her decks, imagine the voyages she had made when Glasgow ship's building was at its peak and ruled the seas. And then something quintessentially Scottish, a distillery visit. Whisky wasn't just a drink here. It was culture, tradition, export and pride all mixed together. The tour walked us through whisky making, malting barley, mashing, fermentation, distillation in copper pot stills that gleaming like art. The warehouse smelled of wood and spirits, hundreds of barrels stacked to the ceiling, each slowly transforming raw alcohol into something complex and Scottish. From Glasgow, the road led northwest to Loch Lomond, Scotland's largest inland water, 24 miles long, mountains rising directly from its shores. The song, "The Bonny Banks of Loch Lomond," had been sung for centuries. Standing here, you understood why. The loch stretched vast and blue mountain between ranges. This was Scotland before cities, before industry, before anything except land and water and sky. We walked a shoreline path, skipped stones, breathed air that tasted clean and old. The villages around Loch Lomond was traditional and small Scottish stone cottages, local pubs serving whisky, shops selling tartan and shortbread without irony. Tourism had arrived but hadn't conquered. The Highlands absorbed visitors and remained essentially Highland. Late afternoon brought Stirling Castle, sitting on volcanic rock above the town, commanding views from miles. This was Scotland's military heart. Whoever held Stirling controlled Scotland. Inside, the Great Hall stretched enormous, built by James IV in the early 1500s, restored to its Renaissance glory. From the castle walls, we looked out over the sites of two crucial Scottish battles. Stirling Bridge, where William Wallace defeated the English in 1297, the battle from Braveheart movie, though the movie version had some creative liberties. Day 10 had taken us from Glasgow's industry to Loch Lomond's beauty to Stirling's military might. Scotland was showing us its layers, working class pride, natural grandeur, fierce independence. Day 11, Edinburgh appeared with its castle dominating the skyline from volcanic rock, reminding everyone who arrived that Scotland's capital took defence seriously. Edinburgh Castle sat on a castle rock, an exterior volcano that had been fortified for over 1,000 years. This was power and history made visible, impossible to attack, impossible to ignore. Walking through the gates felt like walking into Scotland's story. The castle wasn't one building but a complex. Medieval halls, Renaissance palaces, Georgian barracks, all crammed onto this defensive rock. Soldiers lived here, kings had ruled from here, prisoners had died here. Next to the crown jewel sat the Stone of Destiny, the rock Scottish kings sat on during coronation for centuries. England stole it in 1296. Scotland got it back in 1996, exactly 700 years later. The stone looked ordinary, just a chunk of sandstone, but it represented Scottish sovereignty and identity. From the castle walls, Edinburgh spread below, the old town's medieval chaos, the new town's Georgian order, Arthur's Seat rising green to the east. This view explained why Edinburgh was capital. It commanded everything. The Royal Mile stretched from the castle down to Holyrood Palace, one street connecting Scotland's military heart to its royal residence. Medieval buildings lined both sides, narrow close darting off into hidden courtyards, shops and pubs, and history packed tight. Walking the Royal Mile mixed tourist Edinburgh with real Edinburgh. Street performers competed for attention, bagpipers played for tips, shops sold tartan everything, scarves, kilts, whiskey, shortbread, stuffed Nessie toys, but locals still used the street, still worked here, still lived in flats above the tourist shops. History and commerce and daily life all shared the same cobblestones. The National Museum of Scotland tried to tell Scotland's entire story in one building. Prehistory to present, everything that made Scotland Scottish. The Grand Gallery rose tall, all with natural light flooding through the glass roof. Around it, exhibits moved through time, ancient pitched stones with mysterious carvings, Viking artifacts, medieval weapons, industrial machinery from when Glasgow built ships to the world. The history galleries showed Scotland's complicated past. We took a break on the rooftop terrace, coffee in hand, Edinburgh spread below. 11 days into the journey, over 2,500 miles driven, the trip had become about understanding how people shaped themselves, how history lived in the present. That evening, Edinburgh glowed in its golden hour light. The castle lit up against the darkening sky. Street musicians filled the air with music. Pubs filled with locals and tourists mixed freely. Tomorrow, we would leave Scotland, drive south towards Newcastle, visit St. James Park, the 6th Stadium, then onward to London and the final 3 grounds. The journeys had approached, but tonight we were still in Scotland's capital, still discovering and still amazed. Stay with me for part 4 of this UK stadium tour. If you like my content, a very humble request to press that subscribe button, because with you we can grow bigger and reach many more people. See you next time on Travel with Mads. I am your host Madhumita, signing off for the day. Bye-bye.